While fear, uncertainty, and doubt seem to dominate the mainstream media, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick seem to be unfazed. It seems that the fear, uncertainty, and doubt is not just coming from the mainstream media, but may be a part of the process that has been baked in by the administration. Has the transparency of the administration had a positive or negative effect on the negotiations of the trade deals? It seems as though the markets are not used to this open style of global negotiation. Meanwhile, Howard Lutnick seems to think that there won't be much of a disruption in the supply chain. What is it that Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick know about the process that we don't? Obviously, I'm sure pretty much, but it seems quite fascinating that they have such a positive outlook while the media outlook that's being represented seems to be so negative, so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt being spread. There's a few things worth pointing out which seem to have Lutnick and Bessent positive about the outlook of the negotiations. Lutnick was interviewed by CNBC at the Taiwan Semiconductor construction site in Arizona where they're constructing the new factory. Lutnick pointed out that revenue from the tariffs has allowed for 40,000 construction workers to begin working on the site. He also pointed out that the factory being constructed at this site for Taiwan Semiconductor manufacturing will employ 20,000 full-time jobs. So the question of where is the labor going to come from for this manufacturing that they're bringing back to the United States is very important. It seems as though Lutnick and Bessent believe that a lot of the labor will come from community colleges with different education programs geared toward technology and technological innovation that will move us forward with the new AI industrial revolution. It seems that Palantir is taking part in this new model of offering education to advance the labor market into this new AI industrial revolution with their meritocracy program. This program will be aimed at high school students with SATs of 1460 and ACTs of over 30. And it will allow them to bypass college to receive training and education to enter the labor market for the new AI industrial revolution. Well, it seems like we're getting some answers because these aren't the manufacturing jobs of the 50s and 60s and 70s. No, see, this is the new manufacturing. This is going to be a more technical, innovative manufacturing. This type of manufacturing is going to be more of robotics, more artificial intelligence, more computer related software. And so it's going to require technical skills, technological skills that is going to be taught in these colleges, and that's going to be offered directly from these companies through different programs. These new jobs that will potentially be created from the manufacturing that's going to be brought into the country could range between 70,000 to 150,000 base starting. So it really causes you to question and wonder about the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's being spread about the approach and the direction that the administration is going in with attempting to bring this kind of manufacturing to the country. Because if we're going to have industrial jobs, right? AI industrial revolution, these technical jobs that will be paying upwards of 75,000 to 150,000 starting out, then maybe our citizens should be preparing themselves to be able to work in this kind of labor market, right? And so how come we don't see a push through the media or other means to educate or inform our citizens that this is the potential of the kind of labor and the kind of market that's going to be coming forward through these initiatives. And so when you really start looking at it from that standpoint, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Is there some information that's being withheld from the citizens? Is there something that we're not being told? Are insiders possibly front running the rest of the country? Because if these are the kind of jobs that are going to be coming to the country, right, based off of this industrial AI revolution, then maybe we should start preparing our citizens and preparing ourselves to take part in this kind of labor market. For example, Tim Cook with Apple was having conversations with Howard Lutnick about manufacturing the iPhone in the United States. And what Lutnick said was very important. He said that Tim Cook and Apple wants to manufacture the iPhone in the United States, but they need the proper equipment, the robotic arms that are able to work with precision, be operated by humans with precision, so that they could piece together the components of the phone, right? And the robotic arms need to be provided at cost. Okay, they need to be able to acquire this technology at cost that's going to be beneficial to the business. So as long as those things can happen, then obviously they would bring manufacturing to the United States with the iPhone. So very interesting, because at what point will entrepreneurs be able to develop the robotic arms here in the United States so that they could be used in these factories for this new type of labor and skill set? In the meantime, it seems as though Apple has secured manufacturing deals in India. And so that's going to offset and supplement what's going on in China until some kind of negotiation is struck there, which is something that we already understood, right? Because we already understood that COVID exposed the global supply chain, especially for us here in the United States. And we already understood that these countries with these markets that were able to manufacture at scale were positioning themselves for this very moment to take advantage of it. Countries like India, countries like Vietnam, countries like Malaysia, Thailand, Mexico, these countries have been positioning themselves to be able to take part in manufacturing because they were already preparing for this moment. And so there's three components to ushering in this new AI revolution. It is, number one, the trade deals. Number two, the tax cuts. And number three, the deregulation. And so those three things combined, working synergistically, is what this administration assumes will be able to usher in this new AI industrial revolution. And so with securing of trade deals, this tax plan that is now being discussed, earners under $200,000 a year pay zero tax. All right, zero tax on Social Security, zero tax on overtime, zero tax on tips. And so these tax cuts, they're assuming is going to help spur what? Consumer spending, Americans having more money in their pocket, driving more investment. All right. And then you have the deregulation. Obviously, you already know with deregulation, they assume that what? These companies, these corporations, they're going to have more what? Flexibility. They're going to have more freedom to conduct business, which would lead to them investing more in the economy and producing more goods and services. And obviously with the trade deals, they want to see foreign markets open up to domestic goods. And so very important thing with the auto industry and a company is Ford. Okay, so if we look at Ford and you think if Ford would benefit from a scenario like this, okay, foreign markets open up to Ford products. All right. And now we look at the Ford stock. All right. And so we see that the Ford stock, with a 5-year all-time high over what, $25, currently trading right above $10, you're looking at the stock itself being down 60%. Okay. Now Ford pays a dividend on their shares of stock at about 5%. So you could think, it's definitely worth looking at, definitely worth doing analysis on as far as Ford as a company, technical analysis on the price action, because that may be a good play if these things are to go into effect and Ford is a winner. Another good play to look at is the United States multinational companies. I'm gonna give you an example of one. McDonald's, ticker symbol MCD. You look at McDonald's, look at a 5-year on McDonald's. McDonald's is trading close to all-time highs, right? McDonald's all-time high is around $335, give or take. Currently trading at maybe like $315. McDonald's pays a good dividend at 2.25%. And so look at the current price action of McDonald's. It looks like it's doing very well. And see, these are some key facts to know, to understand about a multinational company like McDonald's. McDonald's isn't importing. McDonald's is not exporting. McDonald's went to these countries, okay, and set up shop. And so McDonald's went to China, okay, take advantage of the resources there, the labor market there, the manufacturing there, the sales market there. All right. And there was no need to import or export anything. So a company like McDonald's, a multinational company, would we consider them being tariff proof? Hey, that's something worth looking into. So at the end of the day, as a productive consumer, we just need to be mindful, be aware of what's going on. And a lot of times, you have to be careful about, people that are constantly spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt. When it's constant, you definitely have to take note of that, be mindful of it, ask yourself, why are they spreading this? Why is it this constant narrative? Because at the end of the day, if these things take place, if these take effect, and this type of manufacturing comes to the United States, okay, with investments from these corporations, we're talking about this AI industrial revolution. Well, you probably want to get some education. You probably want to educate yourself, whether you self-educate, whether you enroll in a community college, whether you seek out one of these programs that these companies are actually offering, because these kind of jobs, it's not going to be overnight. Okay, but look at Taiwan Semiconductor. They're in the process of constructing that factory in Arizona right now, which could employ 20,000 full-time people. Okay, and so you definitely don't want to be left out of that. And it's odd and it's weird that there is no narrative informing us, the citizens, to prepare ourselves if these things come to play, right? Because, hey, you want to get that education. If you could land a job in one of these plants, just like back in the day, 50s, 60s, 70s, when, you would go to work in one of these plants as an 18-year-old, you would work at this plant, until you retired, right? It was a good job. You was able to move up, get good benefits, take care of your family. Well, it's going to be a similar scenario with this kind of manufacturing, these kind of plants, and these kind of jobs. So, definitely be careful about what you're allowing to enter your mind, and always do your own due diligence, do your research, do your homework, look into these things, make sure that you understand what's going on. And at the end of the day, I think everything will work out. Let me know what's your take on it. Do you think that these policies, do you think the trade deals, the tax cuts, the deregulation is going to help to bring forth this new AI industrial revolution? Or do you think it's all just backwards activity? Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Let's start a good discussion about it as productive consumers. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.